closing in. The wind is howling. It's that time of the year when spirits roam the hearth, and witches like us fly around looking for unsuspecting victims. There's a great excitement in our paranormal world right now. It's time to embark on an eerie journey into the dark, dark underworld. Anyone brave enough to join us? Let's take the first stop at the Tower of London. Many a tragic event had transpired here since it was built by William the Conqueror in 11th century. Kings and queens had imprisoned, tortured, and killed their rivals and enemies within its walls. The spirits of the victims still haunt the towers and the ramparts. You may meet the headless apparition of Anne Boleyn, Queen of Henry VIII, who was beheaded here. She is said to stalk the site of her execution in Tower Green. Or you may come across Arabella Stuart, the cousin of Elizabeth I, who was starved to death for marrying without royal permission. She still frequents the Queen's Tower to this day. But the saddest of all are the two little princes. They were the children of Edward IV, imprisoned in the tower by their uncle Henry VI. Then one day in 1483, they vanished forever, never to be seen again. You may be moved to pity when you see these two little figures still roaming the dimly lit dungeon in their white nightgowns, whimpering and clutching each other in terror. But be careful. If you long to reach out and console them, they move back slowly against the wall and fade into the fabric. Now I will share a secret with you. Don't think that old castles are the only places that are favorite haunts of the spirits. I've seen many a driver driving down the country road A15 late at night in the loneliness of the Lincolnshire fens. Suddenly, a figure would jump in front of the car from almost nowhere. Sometimes the vision of a man's bearded face would appear on the window opposite, his hand raised and mouth open. You may think that you have run over a man, but don't stop, I tell you. I know, as all witches do, that the bit field by the side of A15 was no ordinary meadow. It was a plague pit where dead bodies from Lincoln were once brought to be buried. So watch out if you are driving down that road in a dark, moonless night with the wind howling and the mist getting thicker. As we are already in Lincolnshire, shall we drop in at the Gainsborough Old Hall? It's a medieval manor house that dates back to 1460. Built by a wealthy gentleman named Sir Thomas Berg. It was the seat of his family for the next 136 years until the house was sold off. But don't you think that the Bergs have left the property? There are at least 3 spirits in residence here to this day. Elizabeth Burke, the daughter of Sir Thomas, died of a broken heart when she was locked up by her father for falling in love with a man from a lower class. She couldn't elope, but is still seen roaming around the tower room, pining for a lost love. Then there is one who is simply known as the Grey Lady. Visitors have spotted her walking the corridors so often that they named it the Ghostly Corridor. Now and then, the two ladies are joined by the apparition of a young boy who died in more recent Victorian times. York's saddest ghost must be Marmaduke Bucko. He was multiply physically handicapped, the poor soul. And in the 17th century, when he was alive, people believed that he practiced witchcraft. He spent most of his life alone in a house on Good Ramgate, until one day he could take no more. He hanged himself from a beam and ended his tragic life, age 18. Before killing himself, he carved 2 dates on the beam. The first one was his birth date, and the second when he decided to end his life. The house is now the La Piazza restaurant in York. Be careful if you are in the pub next door, as Marmaduke slams doors and turns lights on and off, on and off. Sometimes he has been known to even push unsuspecting visitors down the stairs too. Tell me, who hasn't heard the myriad tales of pirates, of shipwrecks, smugglers, and spooky encounters in Cornwall? From the foreboding hills of Bodmin Moor to Penzance and Land's End, Cornwall's every nook and corner is visited by lonely and sinister spirits. If you happen to drive down A30, you can't miss the infamous Jamaica Inn in Bodmin Moor, the most haunted place in Cornwall. It has a colourful history as a smuggler's den, since it was built in 1750s. Many spirits haunt the place. The most sinister one is that of a spiteful highwayman, who frequently appears in his traditional 3-cornered hat, walking through the doorways. If you listen carefully, you may also hear a distressed mother with her crying baby, and muffled voices arguing in Cornish tongue.